Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome if you're new. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and let's get right into today's video. So today's video is sponsored by SAVILAND. Thank you so much for sending over these products for me to try. And I may be wrong, but I don't think I've ever tried a polygel kit from SAVILAND. It's always been their acrylic powders, so I'm really excited to try these. But starting off with the packaging, I do love this pretty pink shade, and also I love the little flowers on top. It's so pretty. So let's just go ahead and open this up. When I first opened it, I was like, wait, is this even the polygel kit? Because it had a lot of different things I did not expect in here. But getting into it, as you can see, it did come with a lot of other things, like this UV light. And you don't usually see these in polygel kits. They usually come in like the gel tip kits, which I can really appreciate. Even though I already have a lot of these, if you are a beginner, this will be very helpful. These little lights are perfect for putting on nail tips or curing on like small items. Perfect for if you want to flash cure and not put your hand in the bigger light. And also to do the apres method. Now moving on to the next box. This box contains more essentials for doing polygel nails. It comes with a 5-gram jar of slip solution. It also comes with a base and top coat, and both of these are 10 milliliters. Now moving on to the next box. This is the polygel set itself, but we are going to circle back to that in a second. Underneath that polygel, we do have more items that are essentials to doing polygel nails. Included in this, we have a 100-180 grit nail file, and I do believe these white ones are called like the zebra files, I'm not sure. And then it also comes with a 2-sided buffer. One is a regular buffer and the other side is a sponge buffer. Also included is a polygel brush, and I haven't received a new polygel brush actually in a while, so I'm actually super excited for this one. Like, I just love having new polygel brushes. This is what it looks like. The quality seems pretty nice. It has a spatula on the other side as well as the brush. And last but not least, it does come with some dual forms. At first I thought these were like clear nail tips, but they are dual forms, and I'm not really a fan of dual forms. If I ever do this type of similar method, it's always going to be the lazy girl method, which I do enjoy a lot more just because I don't like to pop off the tips afterwards. With the dual form, once you cure, you will have to pop these off, but with the lazy girl method, you just leave on the full cover nail tip, which gives you a more perfect shape in my opinion. And lastly, it does come with a user manual. It shows you how to apply with pictures and directions. Now going back to the polygel set, so this is what the packaging looks like. Again, it's so pretty. I love this shade of pink. And let's just go ahead and open this up. So this box does contain 6 polygels, which I am just going to take out really fast so I can show you. And I didn't know what colors these were going to be, so this is actually a surprise for me. But once I took all of them out, here's what the colors look like. Taking a closer look at the tubes, so these are 15-gram tubes. Personally, I don't really like the 15-gram tubes just because I feel like there's not really enough product in there. And as you saw by the thumbnail, I did use that brown quite a bit. And by the end of this video, I only did one hand and there was barely any in there. So yeah, if you do your nails a lot, I do recommend getting the 30 or the 50 tubes of polygel. They last you a little bit longer. And so when I went to swatch these, it was very cold in here and the polygel tubes were so hard to squeeze out. So after this first one, this one is still cold. So once I swatched this one, I did cut off the camera and let them warm up just a little bit in front of the heater. And now I'm going to squeeze all of them out. So this is the white color. Here is rosy pink. Next we have nude pink. We also have cinnamon. And the last color is called milk tea. And when I did warm them up, they were so much easier to squeeze out of the tubes. Also, what I noticed, all of these tubes of polygel had to be burped, and that just means there was like an air bubble sitting right at the top. So if you are getting smaller tubes of polygel, just be mindful of that. Sometimes the tube contains a lot of air and you won't be getting enough product. I will have this polygel set linked down below if you guys would like to purchase it. So getting into my nail set, I didn't use the dual forms. Like I said, I'm not really a fan of them. So I just went ahead and applied some coffin tips to my nails, and I am going to be using this brown shade called milk tea. And I decided on that one just because it was more of like the brown color I was going for. Although I did wish this kit had more of like darker brown colors. But yeah, I am going to be trying out the slip solution as well. So here's what it looks like. I've never seen slip solution in a jar like this, but the consistency feels very like watered down. It kind of feels like a watered down base coat, which is pretty okay. I feel like if you do want a slip solution, I feel like it shouldn't be super thick. So yeah, we're going to try that out and see how it works. So I did decide on doing some French tips, so I'm going to be starting off with this milk tea color, like I said, as my natural nail bed color. And I'm just going to be trying to shape this into my smile line. And I don't know where that piece of hair came from. I believe it actually came from the tube. I'm not sure. I don't see how else it could have got on my nails, so it definitely came from inside that tube, which I did just remove. And now I'm just going to be trying to sculpt this out into a perfect smile line. I always have trouble when it comes to doing smile lines because they always come out so crooked, but I'm just getting around that cuticle area first. I am using that slip solution and it seems to be working fine. But yeah, I just tried to use the body of my brush just to kind of get that nice oval shape. I drag down the center to as far as I want my smile line to go, and then I just work on the sides, try not to move it too much just to kind of shape it out into that perfect oval. I do feel like it takes quite a bit of practice when you are trying to do smile lines like this. Doing French tips this way is so much harder than just drawing them on. I'm not trying to use too much pressure. I am just using like the body of my brush just to kind of sculpt out the sides of it. And I really do love this shade of brown. It's super pretty and I feel like it matches my skin tone really good. Although like I said, I do wish it came with more like darker browns because I wanted to do something, but these shades were a little bit too light for what I wanted. Although this nail set turned out to something similar, but this polygel set did come with a lot of pretty like natural nail bed colors, like perfect for doing like French tips and just like doing like an overlay if you are a short nail person. But yeah, that's how the smile line looks, and I'm just gonna cure for the entire minute in this little lamp here. And this lamp is one of the ones that do not turn off, so I did have to unplug it. I didn't want it to stay on just because I have gel products around and I didn't want anything curing and getting stuck inside like the tube or the jars or anything. So I did want to make sure to turn that off before moving on to the next step. And I am just going in with another layer of that milk tea color because the way I like to do my French tips is to just build up like the smile line area and just overlay the second color. And then once I file, it just reveals that nice and crispy smile line. So that is the way I like to do it. And I just work it right on top. I don't go over the sides because of course we will need to keep that perfect smile line. And so once I finish working that on top, this is what it looks like. And then I'm just going to cure it for another minute as well. I do try to eliminate all of the encapsulation as possible. I feel like encapsulation is a step I don't like to do unless it's absolutely necessary. So I do try to eliminate all of my encapsulation. Once I had that second layer cured, I wiped it down because polygel has a sticky layer once you cure it. So make sure you wipe that down before you go into file. And I'm just taking that 180 grit nail file that they provided in this kit, and I'm just working that around the smile line. I make sure to only file the sides. I don't focus on the top at all. I focus most of the pressure on the sides of it, and then at the bottom I just do like a rounded out motion just to get it like that perfect circle oval look. And this part is actually pretty satisfying. I make sure to take my time, look at it from all directions to make sure it's straight, so once I add on the second color and cure, it's not going to be super crooked. Once I remove all of that dust, I am just going in with my second color. And like I said, since this polygel kit did not have darker browns, I just went with some classic white French tips. So I did just put that white color all at the tip. And the way I like to do it, I just like to pat this second color all in the crevices and the creases. I make sure that is all the way down in there. Otherwise, when I go to cure, it's gonna have some dips in the nail. So you wanna make sure that all of those little gaps and everything are perfectly filled. So I just pat it all over the nail, and then I just go to smooth it out because like I said, once I go to file, it's gonna reveal that perfect and clean smile line. So with this lip solution, I feel like it's just as using regular base coat, and there's nothing wrong with using base coat as a slip solution. I actually watch a lot of people who do use base coat as a slip, but for me personally, it makes the polygel a little bit too soft for my liking. And when the polygel becomes too soft for me, I feel like I have to chase it a lot around the nail. It just gets too soft to where I'm not able to pat it in place and it stays where I put it. So I do believe after this nail I will go in and start using some 91% iced purple alcohol, and that just works best for me. And I also feel like this white polygel was also a little bit softer than the rest of them, and it also needed to be cured a little bit longer, because once I started to file I did have like some uncured areas and I had to go back and just kind of fill in those gaps and cure for extra like time. I do think that's more like my fault, because I do have a habit of just curing for 30 seconds just because I'm so impatient, and the more polygel you add to the nail you will have to cure for extra time just to make sure that it is fully cured. So like I said, I do think that was more of my fault. Just make sure if you are working with thicker layers, make sure to cure for extra time to make sure that you don't have any uncured layers at the bottom. But as you can see, I am just molding this polygel, trying to keep its shape. I do feel like the center of like the bottom part, like the tip of this color was kind of getting a little bit too soft, which made me have to do a lot of shaping and patting. And I kept dragging the polygel up. It would go up too far, then I had to drag it down, and then it just became like this lumpy consistency, all because I was using that slip solution, which made the polygel too soft for me. So for the next bead, I did pull out my little damping dish, and I am just using some 91% iced purple alcohol, and it didn't make the polygel like soft at all. It was perfect. I do think this consistency of polygel is really good for beginners. It's very easy to pat in place, very easy to manipulate and move around. I would highly suggest this brand. It's super affordable as well. So if you are a beginner, try checking out this SAVILAND kit or any other polygels from them. I do believe this is a good brand to use or start out with. And this kit comes with all of the essentials that you will need to do polygel nails. So like I said, I do recommend, and it will be linked down below in the description box. If I do have a discount code, it will be linked as well. But I do think since this kit is on Amazon, I don't think there will be a code for it. But as you can see, this French tip is looking so good so far. Like I said, I'm not adding too much pressure, but since I am using 91% iced purple alcohol now, it is a lot easier for me to control, and I was loving how this looks. For the first nail, I didn't file it yet. I wanted to go ahead and just do all of my smile lines. Since this part is so tedious to me, it's kind of the most difficult part of this entire nail set. So yeah, I am just going to focus on all of my smile lines first. Once I cure on this first layer, I am going to go in with a second layer. Like I said, I do like to build these up just so that I can eliminate all of the encapsulation. And this is just the easiest way for me. Let me know if you like to do it this way as well, or if you like to go in with thin layers and just encapsulate everything. Once I had this one cured, I am just going to be doing that same process on my pinky nail. This is what my French tips look like once I finish, and I am just going in with more alcohol and just wiping down that tacky layer before I go into file. Just like I did the other French tip smile line areas, I'm just going in with that hand file and just making them a little bit neater. and just trying to make them straight as well. I do know every time I do French tips they come out a little bit crooked, and I don't know why, but there's nothing a little filing can't fix. So I just go in and make sure to kind of clean those up a little bit, take my time and get them straight. And I don't mind with this polygel because it was very easy to file. So before I went in with the white polygel on the other nails, I did just want to go ahead and file down my index nail just to see how it's gonna look. And also, instead of using a nail file, I am just gonna be using a nail drill just so that this process go by a lot faster. And I'm just gonna be removing all of that bulkage from the nail, and I'm gonna be removing all of that white color from the smile line area, because like I said, it's going to reveal that nice and clean smile line area. And this part was just so satisfying because in my opinion the smile line actually turned out pretty nice. So yeah, I just went ahead and removed all of that, making the nail really smooth. But one thing I did notice, like the nail bed area was a little bit flat, so I was just gonna go in and add more polygel to it, but in the end it didn't really bother me because like you guys know, I always pop these nails off like an hour or so later. Usually I would, but for this nail set I do still have them on, and it is the next day of me filming this voiceover just because I actually like them. They're pretty simple, but I like them, so I do still have them on. But either way, it didn't like bother me, so I really didn't feel the need to go in and add more polygel. If you are still watching up to here, I do want to say thank you so much. If you haven't liked and subscribed yet, please make sure to go ahead and do so. If you are new to my channel, leave a comment that's saying I'm new, that way I can personally welcome you to the channel. But so once I finish removing all of that dust, this is what that first French tip looks like, and it looks so good. It made me super excited to go ahead and do the other ones. So I'm just going to go ahead and repeat that process, adding that white polygel, making sure to get it all in those grooves and everything, make it nice and flat to the nail. Since I already explained everything, it's not really much to like say, so I'm just going to let this part play out and let you guys enjoy it. And like I mentioned earlier, I did have like some uncured areas when I went into file, and I do think this was the nail it happened on, like right around like the center part of my French tip, and it's just because I had a really thick layer that I only cured for 30 seconds. So just a reminder, if you are going in with thicker layers of polygel, make sure to cure for at least 60 seconds. If you want to make sure that it is fully cured, just do an extra 30 seconds just to be on the safe side. But yeah, I'm just gonna work this polygel in on my pinky as well, repeating that same process, and I'm just gonna let this part finish playing out for you guys. So once I was done with my French tip nails, I did just decide to do some plain nude nails for my ring and my thumb, just to keep it simple. So for my ring finger, I just went in with a thin layer of polygel going all the way down the nail. And the way I always explain how to do this polygel application, and the easiest way for me is to add a bead going down the entire nail, just like I did a few seconds ago. Make sure that your brush is wet. I'm using some 91% isopropyl alcohol. It works the best for me, but by all means use whatever works best for you. And I just like to go in and pat the polygel all the way over the entire surface. The top part is still bumpy. I'm not making sure to smooth it out just yet. I want to make sure that the polygel is over the entire nail, because if I go in and try to smooth it out now, some areas are not going to have product. And if you don't have product all over the nail, you will have to go in with more beads. And if you just try to add to like that area where it doesn't have polygel, it's just going to make it a little bit bumpy and just uneven, which is going to cause more problems, or just cause you to have to go in with more polygel. And I try to make this as simple as possible and the easiest way. So it's easier to just focus on getting it all over the nail first, and then like I'm doing now, just go in and smooth it out and make sure to keep in the sides to keep it shaped. And don't worry about it not being thick to your liking, and don't worry about the apex area just yet. This is only the first layer, so once you have that smoothed out, go ahead and cure it and then add on another layer, repeating that same process. But for the second layer, make sure that you keep most of the product like up at the nail bed area if you want to have a higher apex. And for the second bead, I do make sure to just kind of pat it all over the nail first, but before I work my way all the way down, I do make sure to get the cuticle area first, leaving most of that product like right at the apex area, and then just smoothing down the rest of it, patting it over the entire surface, and just basically repeating that entire process. And that is how I do my polygel application. I don't know if me explaining it this go around was the easiest to follow, but you can still see in the video, I do explain how to do polygel application a lot. So if you would like to, just kind of browse through my videos and just kind of go for like the polygel videos and refer back to one of those. And once I finish working that polygel on that nail, this is how it looks, and it looks pretty good. The apex area looks pretty good as well. And then I went ahead and did my thumb as well off camera, doing that same process, just building that up. Now I'm going to take some alcohol and remove that tacky layer so I can get into the filing. I'm going to debulk my smile line areas and just file and shape the nails. I do start off with a hand file just to make sure that the shape of the nails look pretty decent before I go in with using the e-file. I never file too much in one spot. I do kind of jump around when I file, just to make sure that I don't over file or file like too much and it becomes to where I have to add more product. So I just kind of work and look at the nail from time to time, and I repeat that same process over and over on all of the nails until I feel like I'm done. And even after I'm done, I do just make sure to use the hand file and clean up the shape just one more time before I go into buff. And yeah, that's just how I file. I'm just gonna let some of this part play out. Since these nails are pretty simple, I did add more of my filing in here than I usually would, but I do speed it up just so that it won't take too much time. I'm just gonna let this part play out and let you guys enjoy, and I'll be back once I finish all of my filing. Once I was done with all of my filing, here's how the nails are looking, and I'm really happy with how my French tips turned out. They look really pretty and super neat. I love them so much. So now I'm just gonna be taking these gold rhinestones. I felt like I should add some gold accents to this nail. I felt like it would have looked pretty with that nude color and the white. So here I just have like a few things that I wanted to use. I know for sure I wanted to use these gold butterflies, so I did have a bigger size and a smaller size. And then also I just have some other things that I could have added to the nail. But in the end, I did only end up using some gold rhinestones and the smaller gold butterflies. For the top coat, I am going to be using the one that was provided in this polygel kit, and I absolutely love this top coat. It was super glossy and super shiny. Like you'll see once I start to apply it to my first nail, I absolutely loved it. And it had a great consistency as well. It was nice and thick. It didn't feel runny at all. I did take a really big liking to this top coat. I didn't test out the base coat just because before I started to apply the nails, I kind of forgot. But yeah, this top coat is really good, and I am just applying it to my entire nails. I did want to use the bigger butterflies, so I just tried to put it right there on the nail, but since it is the bigger ones, the weight of it made it really hard to stay in place. So I did switch it to the smaller one, and even though the smaller one did stay in place a little bit more, I couldn't really place it how I want to just because the top coat wasn't as strong enough. So I did just go ahead and make sure to smooth out the top coat, and then I cured it for 30 seconds in the light. And now I'm taking some rhinestone glue or some like charm glue, and I did just apply a little bit to the back of that. I applied it to the back just because I wasn't sure where I wanted it to be placed on the nail. So instead of putting it in the wrong spot on the nail, I just put it like on the back of it so I could place it wherever I wanted to. Once I got it placed how I like, I just flash cured it with my little flashy light. And then I wanted to add some gold rhinestones. At first I was just gonna add like 2 or 3 to the sides of them, and then I got carried away, and then I ended up adding some top coat all the way along like the smile line area, and then I just put it on the border of the smile lines. So I'll just let you guys watch that process. I love the way it turned out. It was super pretty. And then on the other nails, I did just add like 2 coming from the cuticle, just keeping it very simple but still adding in that gold look to it. So I'm gonna let this part finish playing out, and then I will be back once I finish. So right in the middle of me adding on my rhinestones, my phone actually ran out of storage. So I wasn't able to capture the process of me putting on the rhinestones for my ring finger, but I just did a simple swirly design with the butterfly in the middle, and it turned out really pretty. So once I added on my cuticle oil, this is how the nails turned out, and they look so pretty. I really love how it turned out. I love how it's super simple, and the rhinestones add like the perfect amount of bling so it doesn't overpower the set itself. And I really love the process of those French tips. Like, they look so pretty and super neat, so I'm super satisfied with them. And using this polygel kit, it was actually pretty nice. I loved it. I love how it came with everything that you need to do polygel nails if you are a beginner. And I also really love the colors of them. They have some really nice natural nail bed colors if you want to do ombres or French tips like I did. And just the overall polygel kit, I'm going to rate it a 10 out of 10 because I actually did really love it. The quality is super nice, it's very beginner friendly, and the consistency is so perfect if you are just starting off or a little advanced in polygel. I really feel like it's an all-around good kit. Thank you SAVILAND for sponsoring today's video. This kit will be linked down below if you guys are interested, and let me know what you guys thought about today's video. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.